Amen. Chazak u'baruch. Rabbi, good evening. Tonight I want to tell you something interesting regarding the issue of going to a mikveh, especially for women, but also for men as well. What's the difference between men and women? The difference is that when women go to a mikveh, because they're married and they have to go be clean for their husbands, this is from the Torah. This is Deoraita, something from the Torah. So we're very serious about that. Isur karet also. A person who doesn't observe these laws gets cut off from the Jewish people. The wife and the husband, both of them, they get cut off. And not only that, it says that in the Zohar Kadosh, that if they don't observe these laws, what happens is that the husband becomes totally contaminated with the tumah of Nida. Because it says in Zohar Kadosh, the strongest tumah in this world, the strongest impurity is the tumah of Nida. Nothing stronger than that, nothing more powerful than that. So you can imagine, right, how much damage it does to the husband, to the wife, and to the children. Also, they get blemished from all that. So, it causes a whole big chain reaction. We talked about that before. I just want to mention it. But anyway, how important it is, right, to observe these laws. So the question was asked last week. Somebody asked me, they went to vacation, and what happened was that the wife had to immerse into the mikveh, or it wasn't really a mikveh, into the ocean because they were on vacation. There was no mikveh there, so she had to go into the sea, into the ocean. That's the thing, right? A sea is called also mikveh, right? That's the thing. So that's also called a mikveh. Why is that? Because there's water, spring water over there, right, coming from a spring. So obviously, right, that's called, there's also rainwater there as well. Everything is there, so you got everything there. Okay, but the point is like this, right, that what happens is that this lady, she wears like these false nails, artificial nails. And what happens is that she replaces them every month. Every month she goes to the lady that does the nails, right? Whatever that's called, the cosmetic lady, and she changes them because they get, I guess they get worn out, whatever, with the time. So every month they change it. So what happens is that she told me that when she goes to the mikveh over here in this area, the mikveh lady tells her, what does she tell her? Before you come to the mikveh, take off those things, and go into the mikveh without those things, without those artificial things. Something like that. Basically, that's what they told me. So the question is, now that she's there on vacation and she doesn't have anybody there, maybe some some nail person, nail salon, doesn't have over there, something like that, or maybe it's hard to get into there. So the point is, right, that the question was if they can go into the mikveh with the false nails, and or do they have to remove them first, as the mikveh lady said, right, whatever. So that was the question. There's also another question which is similar to that. Very common today, right? You have all these modern ladies who are wearing nail polish, right, today. It's very much, accepted today that these ladies wear them. The truth is, if you go to the religious places, right, Haredi areas, go to Bnei Brak, go to Yerushalayim over there, in the religious neighborhoods, go to Lakewood, go to Muncie, right? You're going to see the women over there. They don't dye their nails at all. They just cut them, because why? Because the truth is, according to Halacha, according to Shulchan Aruch, in Siman Kuf Tzadik Chet in Yerodea, it says over there, in the Seif Yud Chet, it says over there that the custom is that the women cut their nails before they go to the mikveh. What's the reason why they do that? What's the reason why they cut their nails? The reason is because if there's dirt inside the nails, it's called chatzitza, right? It interposes between the water of the mikveh and her body. So therefore, it's no good. She has to go into mikveh again. So if she found dirt on her nails, and she didn't clean that, she's going to have to go again. Especially if the dirt is above the skin, meaning what? It's beyond the finger. In other words, the nails are long, they're sticking out, protruding beyond the finger. So over there, in that area, if you find dirt over there, you have to go again to the mikveh. Your mikveh was no good. So this is the whole thing, right? So that's why the custom is, before they go to the mikveh, the ladies, they cut their nails in order to avoid that problem. They shouldn't have any protruding nails coming out and doing a chatzitza, and interposing between the body and the water. So this is the question that they asked regarding the false nails. So what does the halacha say about that? there is actually a halacha, and also there in Shulchan Aruch, Kusadik Het, in Sif Aleph, it says over there, it describes to you the general rule about what can you go into mikveh with and not. What is chotzetz, what interposes and what doesn't interpose. So the rule is like this, that according to the Torah, right, Din Torah, the Din Torah is that you have to have two conditions in order that the mikveh should be no good. One is that the most of the body has something on it, which is covering the body, and the water won't get in. That's the robe of the body, the majority of the body is covered with something. And the water can't get in there, it's too tight. That's one thing. Number two, she's also makpid. What does that mean? That she doesn't want that on her body all the time. She likes to remove it when she bathes, or when she takes a shower, whatever it is, right? All kinds of things like this, or when she does the dishes with her hands. She likes to remove that because it's uncomfortable to wear it. So if those two things exist, according to the Torah, her mikveh is no good. But the rabbis added also a new dimension, which is that if she's makpid, even if it's a miut, even if it's a minority, it's still a problem. And if it's a majority, even if she's not makpid, it's a problem. So they added a new dimension. They added more of a stringency over here, that a person should be more careful about how you go to mikveh, especially the woman, as we said. By her, it's very important. By the man, it's just a minhag. Why is that? Because today, men don't need to go to mikveh according to halacha. It's just a custom. Why? Because they're not going to Beit HaMikdash, they're not eating kodshim, they're not eating holy foods. Right? We're not eating in holiness our foods. There's no such a thing like that today. So the man's mikveh today is just a minhag. But the woman is much more serious. So therefore she has to follow these rules very, very carefully. So now what happens is like this. That if she has those false nails on her, right, the question is, does she want them on or she doesn't want them? As we said, right, that she keeps them on all month. She keeps them on all month. So therefore, she doesn't want it on there. She doesn't want to take it off. She doesn't take it off even to wash the dishes. She doesn't want to take it off to take a shower. She keeps it on all the time, even when she sleeps, right? That's it. Never takes it off. Only once a month she switches, gets another one. New model, right? The newer model she puts on. That's the way it works, right? So therefore, she does want that on her body. And it's also a minority of her body. It's only just a nail. So therefore, what's the halacha? The halacha is that she's allowed to go in there like that. It's according to Shulchan Aruch, she's allowed to go in with the false nails. What about nail polish? What's with that? So the truth is, it's the same thing. Why is that? Because nail polish also, she wants it on her nails. So she likes to have that way. She doesn't take it off when she washes the dishes. It stays on for until it gets wiped out, right? Whatever, something like that, right? So she keeps it on for a few days, whatever it is, a week. I don't know. God knows. If anybody knows, you can tell me, educate me a little bit. I'm not really sure how long they keep it on. But the point is like this, right? That since they keep it on all day and all night, so therefore here also same thing. She's not makpid. She's not particular about it. So therefore the rule is she can go into the mikveh, whether it's nail polish or it's the artificial nails. She can go in either way, according to halacha. But what's the problem? So what I told this couple, right, is that they're allowed to do it like that. They're going to go into the water, into the ocean, into the beach over there, right? And they're going to go into the mikveh with the false nails, but you have to be careful about one thing when you do that. What do you have to be careful? Make sure there's no dirt there, as we said, right? If you have dirt under your nails and it's sticking out beyond your finger, protruding, it's not going to be a kosher mikveh. So make sure, right? Every woman knows that, by the way. Every religious woman knows. She has to, when she goes to mikveh, she has to clean her nails. They also cut them, as we said. Customers also cut them. But at least if you don't cut them, if you clean them, you're okay. Why? Because according to halacha, if they're not clean, it's a problem. According to minhag, you have to also cut them as well. But the minhag is not something so crucial. If you didn't do the minhag, you would still fulfill your obligation. So therefore, the rule is, I told them like this, right? Go to the water with those false nails, just like we allow with nail polish. But the truth is, that if we know that this lady will listen, maybe, if we have any suspicion, even of a hunch, right? Some kind of there's a chance that she'll listen to us. So what we should tell a lady like this is, we should tell her like this. Do us a favor. If you can, you're a religious woman. You want to do everything the right way. You want to do the minhagim of Israel just like everybody else does. So therefore, what you should do is don't put on nail polish. Leave that for the goyim, to do the customs. That's not for us. This is not the best way. Why? Why do we tell her that? Because she has to really cut her nails. That's the thing, right? And when she has nail polish, she doesn't want to cut them. She wants to leave them on. So this is the problem, So therefore, if she's a woman that she may listen to this advice, we have to tell her that, try to tell her if it's possible. If she won't listen, just leave her alone. Why? Because she's okay, as long as her nails are clean, as we said, that she can go in like that, and the halacha allows that. That's the thing, So, as we said, Rabbi, the rule is like this, right? To review, that these two things are okay, according to halacha, but according to the custom, better, right, that a person should not do these things with their nails. The best thing is to leave them just regular, and then cut them before the mikveh night, at the mikveh night, before you go to the mikveh, right? That's when you cut them. And that's the way it should be done, and that's the best way. But some ladies, they're very fashionable, and they're very, they're very, very fashion conscious, ladies like this. You know how they are, right? So women like that, if you tell them, don't take off your, nail polish and don't wear those false nails, then they'll tell you, listen, you're being too harsh with me, so you know it's going to be, right? You have to be careful, by the way. The problem is that if you tell a modern lady like that, don't put on that, don't do this, you know what's going to be in the end, right? She won't come to mikveh at all. And then it's going to be on your head. Because you were too strict with her. You threw her out, you said, you can't do this, you can't do that. So she says, you know what, I'll just stay home, I'll take a bath instead. I'll go into the bathtub. That's not the way it works, right? I remember one person told me, a Persian guy, this was like many years ago, he said that when we were in Paras, there was a mistaken notion over there, by the Amaratzot, the people, the regular people. They thought that if you go into the bath, it's like you went to the mikveh, so the women would just go into the bath. That was the way they did it, they didn't know, nobody taught them. This is not correct, right, obviously. You're taking a bath, it doesn't help you, it's not a mikveh, bath is not a mikveh. First of all, there's not enough water in there, number one. Number two, also, it's not rainwater or spring water, so therefore, it's not kosher to be a mikveh in any way, right? Regarding the size and the origin of the water is not kosher, so that's not going to work, right? But the truth is, let me tell you one thing, though. You should know this, right? A lot of people don't know this. Some people are a little bit, you know what the Chazal say, right? Sometimes there are some people, the Yetzer Hara comes to them from the religious side, You know what that means? They become too religious, So that's why Shlomo HaMelech said, Al tiyeh tzadik arbeh, don't be too religious, Sometimes person becomes too religious. So what does that mean? He tries to do extra things, Hasidut, which are above the halakha, but it messes him up. Why? Because he doesn't know how to arrange everything. He doesn't know what comes, the priorities. He doesn't know how to organize everything. He doesn't have a rabbi to ask him what to do, how to do. He thinks he knows everything, so he does it by himself. And what happens is he makes a mistake. Why do I tell you this? Because there are some people who, what they do is some men, that they like to go to mikveh a lot. So what they do is some of them go like every Friday, Erev Shabbat. Some of them go every day even. There are some people like that also. Every day they go to the mikveh. Why is that? Because they say, I was with my wife, and so I want to be clean. I want to pray with cleanness. But the truth is, that it's not necessary to do that. And the reason is because the poskim, many achronim poskim, brought down also in the achronim, in the book Torah Tahara, it's brought down over there. Several sources, Rav Moshe Feinstein and many other sources, Maran Ovadia, they say that when a man has been with a woman, if he's not able to go to a mikveh, what's the solution? Let him take a shower, right? A shower also does the job. As we said, right, with women it doesn't do the job, because women have a bigger obligation than we do. But by us, since it's only a minhag, so we can rely on this leniency to take a shower. So what does it depend on? The truth is, there's a Gemara, Masechet Brachot, talks about that over there, that Ezra made this takana, men should go to mikveh after they've been with their wives. So it says over there that if you pour Tisha Kalim, 9 calves of water, on the man, you pour on him, he didn't go to mikveh. You poured on him water. He's clean. tahor, you know? So that's what we do, right? When we take a shower, we do tesha kavim, which is about 12 liters, by the way, of water. You want to know, right? That's how much it is. 12 liters. As opposed to a mikveh, by the way, which is much, much bigger, right? How many liters of water do you need for a mikveh? About 1,200 liters. Can you imagine? It's a big, it's a totally different dimension altogether, right? Much bigger. We're talking about, right, a different world altogether. So you just put 12 liters in a shower on a man. He's tahor to go and pray, and he's tahor to go and learn Torah. That's the thing, you know? So a person who's not able to go to mikveh every day. The truth is, you know, that some people cannot go for many reasons. You know, some people can't go because they don't have time in the morning. They're rushing to the minyan. You know, if they go to mikveh, they'll be late for the minyan. So what's the point, right? You know, you did chasidut, but you missed the halakha, you know? It's halakha to go to minyan, by the way. It's not a chumrah, right? Why is that? Because they say with Chazal that if a person doesn't go to minyan, his prayers are not accepted. Unless he prays with full concentration, you know, 100%. Who amongst us today is 100%? Anybody know? Anybody 100% today? So therefore, since we're not 100%, the only way to have our prayers accepted is to go to minyan. That's what the poskim say. That's what the Chazal say. So therefore, right, that's what it says. That's why we have to be careful to go to minyan. The Rambam, that's how he paskins, and also Shulchan Aruch. They say try to go to minyan if you can. So what happens if you go to a mikveh, you know, and you miss the minyan? You already lost big time, right? That's askarot b'nefsado. You lost. So therefore, right, what should a person do? He doesn't have time for that. Also, there's other issues involved there, right? Sometimes, you know what it is? Sometimes the mikveh is dirty, especially the men's mikveh, right? They're not clean. You know how they are, right? You go in there, you want to, like, excuse my expression, right? You want to throw up in there, you know? Ah. It's so filthy in there, you know? You see all kinds of grease and grime and God knows what in those mikvehs, right? The women's mikvehs are much better, by the way. You know, they're much better. They're much cleaner. But the men's, it's a big problem because many men are going in there, you know, 100, 200, 500. And when are they changing the water? Maybe once a week, you know? I don't know. God knows, right? Everybody's going in. 500 people going into the same water. You know what I mean? It's not such a clean thing, you know? And also, over there, you know what happens, right? The germs, they spread also. If you have any germs to give somebody, go over there, you'll give to everybody, right? Everybody will get your germs. You'll go into the water, and they'll all get your viruses and germs and everything, right? So that's the reason why a lot of people don't like to go to a public mikveh. I'll tell you an interesting story. We'll stop here. I don't want to keep you too long, right? There was Maran, Rabbi Rosham. He also knew the value of going to mikveh every day. He wanted to do that, you know, but he didn't want to do it on the cheshbon of bitul Torah. What does that mean? That he should lose Torah time, Torah learning time. So for him to go to the mikveh, it was bitul Torah. It was a cessation of Torah study. So therefore, he didn't want to go to the public mikveh. He never wanted to do that. That was not for him. So what did he do? He tried to get a mikveh in his house, you know, to build something in his house, right? You know, Rabbi Aaron, he has a mikveh in his house. Rabbi Aaron. So I told him on Shabbat, Rabbi Aaron, I said, why are you going to somebody else's mikveh? I see him going on Shabbat to somebody else's mikveh. I said, you have a mikveh in your house. Why do I see him going to somebody else's mikveh? You know what he tells me? You'll be surprised. He tells me, he says, it's so expensive to operate the mikveh. He says, the heat, the water, this and that. He says, it's cheaper for me to go to somebody else's mikveh. You know, he says, I can't afford it. It's too much money. Okay. You know? It's like a person has a personal bathhouse, you know? It's a lot of money to heat that, to keep it hot all the time, to keep the water going all the time. It's a lot of money. There's a filtration going on there. There's electricity, blah, blah, blah. All kinds of things. Right? So he says, I can't afford it. My mikveh is sitting there. Nobody's going in there. Right? That's it. Right? What can I do? That's the way it is, right? But Maran, he also wanted to get the mikveh in his house. So look at this, right? He was the head of Shas. You know, Shas was like a political party, very connected. You know, they have all connections everywhere, right? In the national government and local government, they're everywhere. Shas. So he had connections, you know. So he asked one of his ministers, Eli Suisa, his name was, right? Eli Suisa. So he tells Eli Suisa, do me a favor, you know, get me a permit from the city hall to make a mikveh in the house, because you need a permit for that. You can't just do it without a permit. Can you imagine? You know, it's like a swimming pool. You know, you gotta have a permit, jacuzzi, whatever. God knows, I don't know, whatever it is, right? So he goes and tries to get the rabbi permit to go to the mikveh, to have a mikveh in his house, and he can't get it. Can you imagine? Even he couldn't get the permit. They wouldn't give him. You know, so in the end, what happened was that Maran didn't have a mikveh in his house. So therefore, he must have been doing what we just said, right? Taking a shower. That's it, right? If you don't have a mikveh, take a shower, and Shalom Al Yisrael. ברוך ה' לעולם, אמן ואמן. רבי חנניה המלך, שאומר אצל הקדוש ברוך הוא עושה ישראל, לפי כך ירבה להם תום מצוות, שלמד אני חפש, למען סתרו יגדיר תורה וידיר. אמן, ישו רב ברוך לעולם ולעלמי, על מה יהיה יתברך.